Hey up, it's Farmer Phil here at PE Farms, and this morning I just want to show you something that's come out really pronounced when we've just shifted the stock out of this part of the paddock and into the next alley. And really it's the example of Mother Nature at its finest and how we can best harness that when we're managing production landscapes. So as you can see from the paddock behind me, this is quite undulating, and we're actually up on a ridge here and the low point's directly behind me. Now, gravity is all encompassing and not even Mother Nature can escape it, and so what tends to happen in landscapes is water and therefore nutrients move from the high points to the low points continually. And so there's this constant transition of nutrients down through the topography of the landscape, getting dragged down by gravity and water. And you know, it's all well and good, but what can we do about that if we're managing livestock on a landscape such as this, where you're going to constantly get in a depletion of nutrients on the high points and concentration of nutrients on the low points? Well, before we had invented fences and started moving and managing livestock the way we are, animals do what they do, go and choose the sweeter grasses, which are down in the valley bottom. And so that's where they're more inclined to hang out and feed. And when they feed, because they're prey animals, they want to get higher on the landscape, so we presume so they can see and keep their eyes out and look out for predators. And so that's where ruminants, these herbivores, tend to camp after being fed. And so they'll come up to the high points, lie down, chew the crud for an hour or two, then when they get up, as all herbivores do, they tend to defecate. And so we end up getting a lot of manure spread along these ridge points, and that's just perfect, because what Mother Nature's done there is, by using these animals, it's transporting those nutrients low down in the landscape and bringing them back up to the high points to repeat that cycle of where those nutrients then gradually transfer themselves down through across the soil surface or through the soil surface back down to the bottom, and the cycle repeats. And so what we're going to show you here is just like the amount of manure that's just spread around us on this ridge compared to down in the valley bottom. And I don't know if you can quite see from there, but we'll take a closer look. Is that there's manure pats at least one every square metre, if not more. And the animals have only been in this wee alley for a day. So that's been done on 2-3 occasions of being up here and chewing their cud and then defecating. Down in the valley bottom here, where there's much less sign of defecation, but the grasses have been reasonably severely grazed, indicating the more palatable, sweeter species. So all these big dungs up on top of the ridge here, I mean, we just don't need to be adding any additional fertilisers or nutrients to our pastures, because they're not being constantly depleted by gravity pulling them down and water washing them off the farm. We've got animals, and they can help cycle those nutrients and put them back where we want them. And I just think that's really amazing, that if we understand this, we can then harness these natural system processes to our advantage when we're managing production landscapes. And so that can then influence where we put our water, where we put our fence, where we put our roads and our buildings. But this is just one little aspect of it, and it was really pronounced this morning. So hopefully you've enjoyed that. If you like what you see, let us know. Remember, you can subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on Facebook and Instagram at PE Farms. Catch you next time.